Every morning at 5:47 a.m., Cornelius Watt arrived at the glass towers of Halcyon Dynamics before anyone else. He wheeled his mop cart through the lobby, nodded at the overnight security guard, a young man named Dario, and got to work. The executives who arrived at 8 would never see him. By then, the floors gleamed, and Cornelius was already somewhere else in the building, invisible. Halcyon Dynamics was a mid-sized logistics software firm riding the edge of a very dangerous cliff. Their flagship product, TrackFlow, was losing ground to competitors. Behind closed mahogany doors, the executive team, led by CEO Priscilla Osi-Mensah, argued about pricing, marketing, and talent. Nobody argued about the cleaner. Nobody even thought about him. Cornelius, however, thought about everything. He had spent 11 years listening to the building breathe. Every meeting, every argument, every careless conversation left in the hallway like a dropped receipt. He wasn't eavesdropping, not exactly. He was simply present in a way that no one who matters ever is. He heard the VP of Engineering, a frantic man named Stellan Bryce, complain on the phone that TrackFlow's data pipeline was running redundant processes, literally burning server cycles on air. He overheard the head of finance, Marguerite Tan, tell an assistant that a vendor contract renewal was bleeding $40,000 a month in fees that the team hadn't reviewed in 3 years. Once, waiting for the elevator, he watched a sales director named Theo Kavanaugh delete a voicemail from a Fortune 500 prospect without listening to it, purely because he was behind on quota and afraid of failing. Cornelius wrote everything down, not to report anyone, not out of malice. He wrote things down because it was what his mother had taught him. When you see a problem you can fix, you write it down until you figure out how. On a Tuesday in late February, he slipped a plain white envelope under Priscilla's office door. Inside was a single folded page. No preamble, no signature, just a numbered list of 7 operational inefficiencies, each with a rough cost estimate and a practical fix: the server redundancy, the vendor contract, a warehouse routing error he'd heard 2 engineers laugh about and never escalate, and the voicemail Theo had deleted. Cornelius had memorized the callback number from the missed call display and written it at the bottom: worth calling back. Priscilla assumed it was from a disgruntled middle manager. She set it aside. Then, that same afternoon, her CFO mentioned the vendor contract in a budget meeting, citing the exact figure on Cornelius's note. She pulled the paper back out of her drawer and read it twice. It took her 2 days to find him. She finally asked Dario, the security guard, who smiled and said, "That's Cornelius. He gets in around 5:45. She waited for him in the lobby the next morning. "I didn't want anything," Cornelius told her. "I just hate watching good things go to waste." Within 6 months, acting on the note, Halcyon recovered over $4 million in operational savings. The Fortune 500 prospect became their largest client. Stellan fixed the server pipeline. The vendor contract was renegotiated down to a fraction of its cost. Priscilla created a new internal role: Operations Intelligence Liaison. She offered it to Cornelius with a salary that made him sit very still for a twirling moment before he nodded. At his first company, All Hands, she introduced him to 400 employees who had no idea who he was. "This is the person who saved this company," she said. "He worked here for 11 years. I'm ashamed it took me this long to learn his name." The room went quiet in that particular way rooms do when people are thinking about themselves. Cornelius adjusted the microphone and said only, "Pay attention to the people who keep the lights on. They see more than you think."